by the 2nd District Court of Appeals, Division 4. The issues that we're presenting to the court is, first off, what are the standards? Well, I've got a settlement. Sure.
A jury trial. We want the right to have a jury trial, which is being blocked.
Well, fundamentally, how does a person like...
Okay, gotta get to the mic.
Fundamentally, how does a person like my client, Anthony Zamboni, obtain redress for what happened to him? Locked out of the house, isolated from his mother. The normal sorts of tricks that conservators pull to isolate people who are conservatees from their family and finances. Like the intentional infliction of emotional distress was one thing he sued for. There was a lot of appropriation of property, hundreds of thousands of dollars from the house in which Enid lived. And there was the wrongful death of his mother. And while she was an elderly woman, she was not slated to die as soon as she did by probably a couple of years. The question that presents, of course, is when should an elderly person die and who gets to say so? Not the person. Is it a judge who's reviewing the results of the reports of a court-appointed conservator, or PDP? And if those results indicate that there was a breach, a serious breach of their sacred duties to care for the client, the conservatee, provide them necessary medical treatment, then there's plenty of money to do so, by the way. Are they somehow exonerated? Is this, a priest giving them absolution after they've confessed to their acts that resulted in the essential torture and death of somebody?
I think was something that came up, and it was hard for me as a layperson to understand with the legal system, is that the people that caused her death, her early death, and her suffering and her torture, and defrauded her of well over $1 million that has been found so far. That how could the justice system, I didn't understand this, how could the justice system fail to bring these people to justice? And they brought up an archaic law that is really hard for me to understand, that because they were court appointed to do these actions, and that they made reports to the court in which they'd even described some of the, I think, which are crimes, to prevent, how they're contacting the police to prevent me from reporting elder abuse. They reported these in the actual court notes. And so somehow, because they're under the court system, they get immunity for these crimes. And this is the action that they brought up to prevent a civil jury trial from going forth. And the initial judge that made the decision, he just retired from the bench like the day after he made this decision, allowing these people to go free. And then the Court of Appeals, again, upheld that. So that's why we're going to the Supreme Court, because we want a jury trial. We want, how should these people be protected by the very court system in which they're be protected from and to be able to commit crimes like this, which are repeated over and over again throughout the nation as well as throughout Los Angeles.
This was an unlimited condemnation. Now, all the hearing earlier, was restricted to 4 ounces, which is nowhere near but they were earthquake in California. And the argument of the Court of Appeal was, so what? It's like when I got from the bench, and she's old, she's going to dominate, which is why I raised that first question. Who made this first decision for you? Now, she had, for example, given a living will out and elected no extraordinary remedies. But while they're in the hospital, she changes her mind and says, I don't want to die. She can thought it was the logic that goes behind saying, well, so what? On
the Court of Appeals.
Assumption was, well, the other side argued for that. Alcohol is a psychotropic drug. You can keep somebody drugged on that. It causes psychotic behavior, too. You can write down to it.
It's an actual disorder. It's not something, it's something that is done socially, but when it tips over into alcoholism or drug addiction, this is a way that conservators and other people can control elders by giving them substances, whether it be the old-fashioned alcohol or whether they give them psychotropic drugs to drug them into a stupor and have them sign papers, as was happened in this case. Furthermore, Frume LeBeau took this and hid this power of attorney that her son had. Anthony Sauvage had power of attorney over financial as well as health. And this was sequestered despite court orders that he obtained in medical records. It was hidden in the medical records until the very end, that he was actually the guardian. And he was supposed to be protecting his mother, and that was robbed of him and taken by these professional conservators, Frume LeBeau.